Good morning. Good morning. What's up, folks? How's everybody doing this morning? What's up, Navy Plum? What's up, Harry? Good to see you guys here bright and early. What's up, Strife? What's up, Drew? What's up, Mushroom? Let me get my screen sharing started. All right. Good stuff. You guys should be able to see my screen now. I think. Yep, that little, weird little exclamation mark on it there for a second. I was like, is that a bad thing? So, good morning. What's up, Milan? Who else has jumped in here? What's up, Chris? What's up, Deranged Kong? Good to see you all here. Thanks for joining. I do appreciate it. Sorry if I've been a little absent from the chats the past few weeks, really. It's just December is a tough month with family commitments and everybody under every board that you're involved with or every charity that you donate to has some kind of Christmas thing that you're supposed to be at, and it's a lot. But that's kind of finally starting to quiet down, so hopefully I'll get to kind of focus a little bit more on the market and not worrying about year-end type stuff as we go to wrap up the month of December here. So, like I said, you guys should be able to see my screen. I think we're live on YouTube. Audio looks good. I think everything's good to go. So let's dig in, shall we? Hang on, let me get my, whoa, where did my mouse just go? There we go. Sorry about that. There we go. I'm gonna just moving my windows around real quick just to make sure I've got all the info where I want it. Okay, perfect. So, looking at ES here, which is typically where we start these live streams, we've continued to kind of maintain this pretty strong trend to the upside, even seeing a bounce here this morning off of that same line that I've been watching. Really kind of got confirmed here off this bounce that was, I think, right before the last FOMC meeting. This is that FOMC meeting and the press conference that came after, pushing us up and over the weekly resistance there at 47.59. We've back tested that really cleanly there, and I'm sure on a higher time frame that looks like a better hold than it does there on the hourly, but overall bullish trend maintained, and even stronger, more immediate term trend flipped back to the upside after catching that bounce, and we are, like I said, holding this trend line, pushing to the upside, but we are in a supply zone here that I think gets exhausted around this 48.10 level. So if we can get through that on ES, I think a lot of upside opens up, and we probably make a push toward all-time highs, maybe even printing a new one. We'll see. Certainly wouldn't go piling in to long positions just yet. Definitely be cautious, especially sitting in a supply zone. And it is December. It is the end of the year. We're going to see some portfolio rebalancing, things getting moved around. December can be a tricky month to trade. Generally, I go a lot lighter. I think historically, my performance dips personally a little bit in December. That's just, for whatever reason, the way that the rebalancing affects the stock market kind of sometimes doesn't jive very well with my personal approach to how I like to trade. So I do tend to ease up and go a little lighter, but that's also probably partly because I'm just extra distracted this month every year. So that being said, like again, looking for that 48.10 to break. That should get us cruising to the upside. If you don't have this trend line on your ES charts on the hourly, I've got it tracking back to the 8 a.m. candle here on Friday, December the 8th. And I think as long as you catch that FOMC bounce, that should put you kind of on the same trend that I'm tracking with your 2 points of the trend line. So starting point and end point, let it project out to the right, and keep an eye on this guy for as far as something to watch to make sure that we're kind of maintaining the current trend. We could break it and still find a new place to bounce, create a new trend. This is a little steep. I don't think it's sustainable for terribly long, but we'll see. Until it breaks, the trend is your friend. So keep using that to your advantage. All right, I see we've got some more people that have jumped in here this morning. Georgia Bulldogs, Peanut Falcon. What's up, guys? What's up, Sutaru? Pure Gamer. Good to see you guys. Good morning, Peanut Falcon. All right, so let's take a look at our member selected tickers from over the weekend, recap these trade plans real quick, kind of talk through things a little bit more than I'm able to just kind of put in a quick trade plan that has, entries and stop losses and price targets and all that stuff. So we had a trade plan on Tesla. We were looking for a break over 254.21 with the first target here at 256.71. We got that and then some. In fact, it made it up to this next 4-hour level I have on my chart here at 258.47 and pretty promptly rejected. So came back down. It's continued to push lower again. Make sure that as we're hitting these price targets, you are taking profit on some of your contracts. If you only have one contract, take them all. Don't be greedy. Start small. And take those small wins if you're in a small position size, or a small number of contracts, I should say. And make sure that you're moving your stops up as we hit these price targets. That way you don't let any of those contracts that you do have left, if you have any left, after taking profits at PT1, make sure those aren't going red after the fact. So pushing up to that 258.47 level, kind of back in our no trade zone. So keep an eye on this. Could go either way. We could see it play out to the downside and try for some put targets. Here's a cleaner version of this chart. I just wanted you guys to see those extra levels. I just pulled out for the chart that I posted because it can be a little bit hard to follow, I think, with all those levels. This is a little bit easier for you guys to see. Let's get back to this hourly chart. Get the indicators on there. Again, we're looking for a break back above 254.21 to try to play for these upside targets again, potentially. I'd say that still looks good, also considering where the indicators are sitting right now. And then to the downside, bing, bang, boom, 1, 2, 3 price targets. That's actually PT3. I'd be taking profits a little bit early with this confluence of support developing down here near 245, call it. But again, break below 250.67, we start looking for this downside to play out. So back in the range, I think this plan and these levels still look good to me. So recycle it, hit it again if you get the opportunity to do it, especially if you caught it the first time. Play with a small portion of those profits. All right, so that was our Tesla trade plans. Let me knock these two out. Do that. We also did, why do I have Oracle? We didn't do Oracle over the week. We did Apple over the weekend. Apple dumped to the downside. Again, kind of similar to Tesla. Got like one more level below where my actual target was. Again, I've said this before, but if I've kind of torn between two levels, I'm always going to pick the more conservative of the two. I actually was eyeballing this 194.40, which is why I marked it blue on my chart. This probably was the full chart that was posted, by the way, versus Tesla, where I just pulled out the key levels. But just to kind of talk about, the price action. I don't want to hide drawings. Dang it. Just focusing on the price action here again. Broke down. I was also watching this. It was kind of a triangle pattern that Apple was in on some higher time frames. Broke down, caught that level that I thought was the actual PT, but again, I kind of gave us one level closer just to be conservative. Back tested, then you got your clean test of PT1 there, so that's kind of more the move I was expecting, but I thought it could be between these two levels. Both hit at the end of the day. Bounced right off that. Again, nice back test, new entry opportunity if you didn't get in here, which that would have been tough to catch in the first 15 minutes of the day. I personally would have waited for that back test. Take profits at PT1. It has recovered quite a bit. Did break back above that trend line, but ultimately, I think that was an hourly trend. I mean, it was invalidated and back tested, and now we seem to be struggling with this descending trend line here a little bit pre-market, just trying to get above it. So keep your eyes on it. Apple could, especially if it breaks over this pre-market high around this 197.03 level, could see potentially an earlier entry here. So they've had some kind of interesting news with that whole patent issue with the blood oxygen monitor on the Apple Watch. What is that? The Series 9 and the Ultra 2. They essentially, I think, as of like December, I think like in a week or so, Apple can't directly sell them anymore, at least until they address this patent infringement issue that's hanging over their head. So that on top of the China restricting iPhone purchases, I guess is essentially what they're doing, or banning iPhones. Um, they've been hit with a couple of bad news catalysts lately, so just be a little bit cautious. But news tends to kind of get forgotten quickly if overall people still like Apple, think it's got a promising future and a lot of new products that people are going to spend a lot of money on in their, in their back pocket, then they're going to continue to buy up Apple stock. So don't let the news phase you too much. Here we're looking at Roku. This was another one that got requested over the weekend. Nothing really to kind of comment on here other than there is a potential earlier entry right here around this 128 level. If you did take that, I'd probably be looking to take profit somewhere around this rejection area at 104 flat. I'm just going to put kind of a temporary line here. I gotta check that to see if it's a real level or not. But anyway, potential earlier entry there over 128 with a target at 104. I'd keep my stop loss. Yeah, I'd use this weekly level there at 98.04. I'd want to see that hold for continuation. But I like breaking over that confluence that we're seeing here on the hourly chart. Again, safer move would be to wait for Roku to move much higher, but could be a kind of a trade before that trade plan materializes. So keep your eye on that one as well. And then IWM we talked about on Thursday's live stream. This one's kind of just chopped between our stop loss and call entry. Seems to be struggling a little bit here pre-market with this 198.96 level. I think if it can crack that, and things are looking pretty bullish, at least currently, we should see that first target there at 209. So again, IWM can be a slow mover. Contract should be fairly inexpensive though, because there's not a lot of implied volatility built into them. So when you have that kind of scenario, make sure that you're buying extra time. Contracts are cheaper for a reason, so you can buy more time to let things play out. You need that extra time because it's a lower volatility ticker. So let me get that coffee. All right, last but not least, and then let's get to some of your tickers you asked for this morning. BABA, this one we did the trade plan for on Thursday pre-market. Absolutely smashed through our call entry level all the way to PT1, rejected, kind of fought around this, made a weird, I guess you might call, nah, it's not even really a flag. I don't know what that is. That's not a pattern. That's just weirdness. Ultimately, though, gapped up, hit these, I think we're talking about two potential targets in here, or at least that's what it looks like based on how I have these lines marked up. Ultimately, though, between charting it or planning this out on Thursday and about midday Friday, all targets achieved to the upside, so congrats if you followed this plan. Never really threatened any kind of major back test or anything. It was just a breakthrough and run straight to the upside, so congrats if you were able to act quick enough to jump on this and were brave enough to swing BABA, because again, any of these Chinese stocks can gap up or gap down overnight. It is very much a hero or zero almost swing position that you're taking when you're swinging some of those stocks, because they could just make such big moves overnight. So make sure you buy extra time in case you get caught in one of those gaps that goes against you on BABA, Baidu, Neo, any of those Chinese names, just so you've got time to try to manage the trade and perhaps adjust and still come out okay without having to take a big hit on a gap down or up that goes against you. So with that, let's take a look at some of these ticker requests that you guys have this morning. AVGO, Broadcom from Milan. Let's see what we've got there. I think this one's printed new all-time highs recently, I think. Did I see a headline that said that? They just had an earnings report, I think. Dividend. I guess that was just, what is the X date? It's today. Oh, I guess it did drop some. It's like, it doesn't look like it really dropped that much, but it was a $1,000+ ticker. So Yeah, this is going to be interesting. Um, because we're essentially kind of in price discovery. I do have these Fibonacci extensions, these purple levels that have actually worked fairly well. I mean, nice rejection resistance there at that 103, that 1033.57 level. This one is 1076.29. I think that level's probably actually a little bit lower, probably closer to 1074.81, but overall, not a terrible miss. And then this is very close to where we're kind of current all-time highs here on this. That's probably my last extension to the upside. So it's played out through all the extensions, which means it could be due for a pullback. Question is, at least as far as my approach to how I like to set my trade plans, this is going to be a little bit tough because we just don't have support and resistance to work with. And we've already kind of smoked all of my Fibonacci extension levels. So let's see. There's also not a really, well, I guess we could try to see. Let's try this. Let's see how this plays out. This will be interesting. Because typically, if you're doing trend-based fib extensions, you have to have sort of a pullback point. We do have a couple, technically. The trend is just super steep. So that would be one, and I think it's actually a little bit lower, probably like right there. Then we could run another set off of that base. Okay. See how this plays out. This will be interesting. Not done this before. It's what my gut tells me to do, though. So, let's do this because this is going to get hard to work with. Let's make these guys just so we can track these separately from our existing fib extensions. We'll use a different color for each set. Might need to make some small adjustments, but these should get us pretty close to where the levels actually are. That nice confluence there. I like that. So catching that same level again, I do think it is just a tiny little bit lower. It's like right there. Again, this is not a far from a test of anybody's accuracy. It's really just using math to project where we could find resistance that's never been tested before. Okay, so then what I'm thinking is to run this a second time, looking at it this way, off of this base, up to this rejection. I think we lose the trend coming down to here. The question is, are we better off catching this candle, or I think, yeah, I like that better. Right about there. So, throw this guy in here. Let's all right. This is probably as good as we're going to be able to do. Again, talking about something that is at all-time highs, essentially, and trying to make new all-time highs. I do like that this would be a break of the 0.618. All right. The only question I have, or concern I have, I may have to look at like a 30-minute chart here in a second. Let's see. Is the risk reward getting us to PT1 versus where I think the stop loss is, which is right about there. It's right at 1-to-1, which is not bad. It's not ideal, but I think that's just the room you have to give this trade to work out. So a little bit of a less than ideal setup. just to be perfectly honest. That's okay. Sometimes the less than ideal setups turn out to be big winners, but size accordingly, right? So over that though, here's where we really kind of get into anybody's best guess territory. But you know, I mean, we've seen the full set of Fibonacci extensions play out up to here. This isn't even the full set of the first set that we just added. So, you know, and again, Broadcom is just on an absolute tear right now. So I think, you know, it's got the potential to make those moves. So let's see what happens. But that's just how it stacks up. That's the best we can do, not having existing support and resistance levels or historical support and resistance to really test. But I think we made very well educated guesses. I will say that as far as how we do our Fibonacci extensions, and that's the best you can do in this scenario. I do see this level sticking out. Hasn't been tested a bunch yet, but this will be an interesting one that we're going to keep an eye on, I think. Very quick testing in that area, but it's there. Let me also fix, I accidentally just left all these dashed lines because I was being lazy when I drew them. Now I gotta pay the price. All right. I think we. It's close, but there might be a level down in here too. It's not the greatest thing I've ever seen, but it's not the worst either. Again, very minimal price action to use here to find some of these levels that we might want to concentrate on. So for our downside trade plan, yeah, I think I'm looking at a break below this hourly level that we just drew. Let's have a 30-minute chart real quick. Yeah, if we've got anything to work with using price action, it's sitting right here as a stop loss. First target. This is an interesting little bounce around this prior resistance. I think it's first target's right about here. Second target, I like this fib level that we caught. Right about there. Yep. And third target, I think this hourly level right here. It's kind of a tight PG23 there, but it's just what it looks like to me. So, where are we at? Risk to reward. Yeah, good risk to reward on the downside, 1.3. Getting close to that 1.5. All right, yeah, I mean, that's, again, having really not a lot of history up in this range. I think we've come up with a pretty well thought out plan, if I do say so myself. So let's see how this works out. There is the chart. And let me talk you guys through this real quick just so you make sure that we're all kind of on the same page with what you're seeing here in the chart. So what we're looking for to play the upside here on Broadcom is a break over sorry, gosh, I got to get used to this being a four-digit ticker here. Break over 1146.41 with targets at 1160.18, 1181.60, and 1228 flat. Again, a little bit of a stretch up there. Make sure you're aggressively chasing the price action with stops over 1181. If it pulls back enough to get you stopped out for good profit, not a bad scenario at the end of the day. With a stop loss average down at 1133.15. To the downside, we're looking for a break below 1113.82. That should give us targets at 1089.98, 1068.90, and 1057.73, with a stop loss average down at 1130.36. That is your Broadcom trade plan. Let's see how it works out. Again, kind of a interesting little exercise we got to do there using some fib extensions. So, I hope you guys were paying some attention to that, because it's pretty much the only thing you have to work with when you're talking about tickers that are making new all-time highs, and we see a lot of tickers starting to do that right now. The indexes are starting to test those levels. So fib extensions are going to be our best friends for a little while until we see a decent pullback. All right, what was our next one on the list? Let's see, that was Broadcom, UPST. Let's take a look at that. Upstart. I think we did a trade plan on this recently, didn't we? Wow. That was quite the move. What was that about? Was there some, I mean, that looks, or is that, no, that's just, that was FOMC. Never mind. Answered my own question. Yeah, we did have a Broadcom trade plan at some point. Where's my long short positions on this? Did go back. Does it? Wow. I thought we've done this more recently than this. Maybe not. Okay, well, anyway. Let's see where it's at. We do have some existing levels on this. That should be helpful. Pretty clearly struggling around this 46.91 level. Clean rejection there. Finding some resistance right around that. Let's see what kind of price action we have to work with on this one. Fortunately, we do have, I think, some history on it, so that'll be helpful. Help us pick some more accurate levels. Well, before I get too tight on my time frames, let's go through the steps, right? Yeah, something sitting here. Is this also possibly a daily level? Let's see. Wait a second. Did I just lose track of where I was? No, I didn't. So there's a couple of daily levels there. Time now. Okay, I'll be surprised if we need any more daily levels up there. We're gonna have 3 price targets by the time we get that far up. Let's see. Can't ignore that. Okay, let's take a look now at the 4-hour chart. It's starting to get a little noisy. I need to see price action for now. All right, this is the spot I was looking at before. It was just a 4-hour level. Yeah, definitely got a level there. Lots of resistance. All right, let's go back a little bit further. There's our more. Nope, never mind. It's the same one. Thought I saw the trade plan I was looking for earlier. I swear we've done UPST more recently than June. Could be wrong. Imagine buying the top on this one. Let's see, right there. I think we have another one. Oh, you know what? We're not going to need levels that high. Sorry, getting in the weeds. Okay, what do we have below and in this range? Is now my question. Let's see. Definitely something hanging out right there. There as well. Let's go back a little bit. Man, this thing does not hang out for very long. It just volatility on top of volatility. All right, let's see what that gives us. I mean, it's just, do you want to see if this has been tested right around this spot? Yeah, I was kind of eyeballing that. This is it's a very iffy level. But all right, let's take a look at this. Indicators on. You know what else I'd be interested to see, actually? Could kind of help a little bit. We just did this a second ago. Question is, where does this guy really fire off? I mean, I guess... Yeah, I think it's looking at something that's a little bit more... Ah, that's the spot I wanted. Come here. Yes. Yep, just, yeah. Okay. Let's see if that stacks up with... So I'm looking at probably a break over this 49th. Yeah, that's the level I was looking at too. Okay. So I think we're looking for a break over this 49.36 level. Stop loss here at about 47 flat, 46.91 I think is the actual level. If there is, let's see. No conflicts there. Okay. Not too worried about that. So then I think what I'd be looking for over that would be this 56.10 target. And then probably, let's see. Sorry, I know I keep going back and forth on this, but I'm just trying to put this out. Is that bounce? Yeah. Screw it. I say go for 61.67. That's kind of where we found this resistance and triggered this big sell side imbalance. Still probably a little bit of a fair value gap to fill on the way up there. So yeah, those would be my targets. All right, for the upside, downside, this is, I think, a little bit more clear, in my opinion. PT1, PT2. This level's maybe a little low, actually. It's probably sitting right there. I think that's PT3. So, yep. Let's fix this real quick. Alright. This is what we're looking at for upside, and this is what we're looking at for downside. Catch up on the chat real quick, because I'm PayPal, thanks. MDB if time permits. I know time's not going to permit for MDB. I apologize. I do need to get to the SPY plan here shortly, which will go in the options watch list for those of you who are new to the group. Put that out every day. Typically, it's pretty solid. Just be careful this time of year with the indexes. Can be a little bit challenging to trade them in December. Here's our UPST Upstart trade plan. All right, so what we're looking for on Upstart is a break over 49.36. That should give us targets at 53.55, 56.10, and 61.67 with a stop loss average down at 46.91. To the downside, we're looking for a break below 42.49. That should give us targets at 39.27, 35.52, and 32.59 with a stop loss average down at 44.89. Yeah, 44.89. So that is your UPST trade plan. All right, let's see. Do I have time? Yeah, it's going to be a stretch, and then I'm going to start, and then I'm not going to want to finish. So let's call it a live stream for today. Going to wrap up maybe a couple minutes early. If there's any last, I can take a quick look at these, but I'm not going to be able to do full trade plans. Just take a quick look at them with the indicators. Maybe I've got some levels already set up. Bank of America for Confused Soul. I'd be looking at right here. Probably like that. So, yeah, I'd be looking for a break at 33.96 for more upside. And definitely a break below 33 to play puts. First target down to 32.38 for the upside. It's an interesting rejection right there, 34.33. That all happened extended trading hours, though. Real quick, come on. Come on, Bank of America. You've not traded this high in that long. There we go. So over 33.96. Yeah, maybe there is a level in there. I think that's pretty close to that high day rejection. So probably 34, 33, 34, 55 range, 34.78, somewhere in that neighborhood. So that's just quick take on that one. And then PayPal. Let's see where this guy's sitting. I don't think I have a ton of levels on PayPal. I lied. Maybe I have some. Yeah, I want to see a break over 61.97 for upside, probably to about 62.64-ish. Stop loss 61.42 or 61.05, somewhere in that neighborhood. If it breaks below 61.05, really I'd say this kind of local support right here could see a pretty big downside move play out. So watch below 60.91 on PayPal. All right, with that, it is 9:10. I do need to get to working on this SPY plan so I can get that posted for you guys here shortly. I do want to thank everybody for joining me this morning. We'll be back Thursday morning at 8:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. So with that, I'm going to leave you guys with our FOMO live stream motto, which is playing your trades, trade your plans. Go out there and get some green, folks. I will see you guys in the chat as much as I can today. I do have another holiday get-together luncheon thing at noon today, so going to be out of pocket for a little while, but I will do my best to stay on top of things and share what I'm seeing in the chat. And I will see you guys back here Thursday morning at 8:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Thank you again for joining me. Have a great day. Go out there and crush it, folks. Take care.